Here we are, guys. One last time for this Serie season. We are at match day 38. Thank you for coming through this journey with me all season, regardless of what happens tomorrow. And before we get into it, today's last match preview, give a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. One more time, as Daft Punk will say. One more time. Celebrate and dance with me. Well, we're not going to be celebrating tomorrow, most likely, are we? It's more like what could it be? Nico Paz is scoring on us. We're gonna shit and cry. Something along those lines. Because regardless of what Inter do tomorrow against Como, 7:45 p.m. UK time kickoff, it all depends on Napoli or even more on Cagliari do. And yeah, I mean, instead of looking at Inter, I'm going to look at Napoli Cagliari first in terms of the match preview. Because yeah, we rely on other people. Palma did the job. Christian Kivo did his job last time. Where are you guys standing on this? Actually, before I get into that, are you going to watch the match? Because I know some people are saying they're not even going to watch the match because there's no point. That the hope is gone. So some people are not even watching the match. So you watching the match? Because I am. I'm definitely watching the match, and I'll have the Napoli score on the other side just to check what's going on. It is what it is. I'll watch until the last match day, regardless of whatever the result. I'll keep believing, even though I think now I give it probably like a 3 or 4% chance that Inter pull this off, or even maybe the spareggio if Inter draw on points. But crazy things have happened in football. Tomorrow could be the day for another crazy thing to happen. So that's where I stand on this. But yeah, this is how Cagliari, according to Fanta Calcio. I mean, Sky Sport Italia haven't released their predicted lineups yet on their website, so I had to resort to this, which actually kind of cool. I like how they were done this kind of cartoon style visually. So Cagliari gonna have some rotations because obviously they're fully safe. They have nothing to play for now. They are chilling, absolutely living their best life with the prosecco and the Aperol spritz in their hand on a Sardinian beach. But according to the manager, as tweeted here by Patrick Kendrick, Davide Nicola, absolute legend of relegation football in Italy, he says, "Don't think about Cagliari. We will give our all to produce the sort of performance that we want because we're the professionals involved. Everyone else should focus on their own targets. We've grafted to secure our target. They should focus on their goals." You know what? He's spitting. He's spitting. If Inter didn't shit the bed all season long and didn't drop points all season long to every big team in Serie and recently even the smaller teams, then we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be here talking about this. So fair play to you, David and Nicola, and his pragmatism and his style of play, could end up helping into tomorrow. Who knows? But anyway, they're missing their main goalkeeper, Caprile, who was actually on loan from Napoli. So the backup is going to play, or maybe even a youth goalkeeper. So some outlets say Yerry Mina is actually also a doubt for the game. Obviously, the shithouse centre back. But apart from that, seems like that's pretty much their starting lineup, which is decent lineup. I think Nicola's done very well to keep them up. Not particularly a lot of quality in this, and it is away in terms of Cagliari as well. It's Napoli at home. But we have seen recently, guys, Napoli have been feeling a little bit of pressure. As much as we like to praise Conte and his mentality and what he instills in the players, it does seem like these Napoli players are feeling a bit of the weight and the pressure of them being in this position against Parma. They barely created anything. Very, very little chance creation. Even all the last few games, really, they've struggled to create chances. Just tell Lukaku that it's a final. We know that's when he gets his performance anxiety and issues. Apart from that, they're missing Lobotka, they're missing Buongiorno, but they've been doing fine without them all season. So, yeah, we just got to hope that weight and tension and pressure gets to them one more time at the Maradona. One more time. Maybe some dodgy pizzas pre-game to take their performance down even more. But look at this is the lineup that Antonio Conte is about to win a Scudetto with, man. I can only salute and bow down to the guy as much as his statements and his moaning and shitting all season is annoying. He's done a fantastic job taking this team to this Scudetto. Now, let's get to Inter, and it looks like Inzaghi has made his decision. And I think most of you guys, and probably I also agree, all eyes on the 31st of May. And the backups hopefully can do their job. Heavily rotated lineup. Lautaro still, injured, so that makes sense. Frattesi's only come back from injury. But apart from that, Taremi coming in for Thuram, Correa coming in for Lautaro, fully rotated front line. Di Marco starting, so that's a starter. But apart from that, in midfield, only Hakan is a starter. Darmian coming in for Denzel. Bisek continues because of Pavard's injury. De Vrij comes in for Acerbi. Carlos Augusto comes in for Bastoni. I've also seen Pasquale Guarro say, one of the journalists say, is even a 50-50 between Zomer and Josep Martinez. So in that case, that is, Inzaghi saying, whatever happens here, happens. All eyes on 31st of May. And the thing is, this might look like, Inzaghi making that decision, but we saw against Torino, and yes, like Intertwined here says, it could end up being that kind of hybrid 3-4-3 formation that we played against Torino, really, with Zalewski being in behind Taremi, Correa, and Zalewski kind of in behind Taremi. But this lineup with the more rested players, with the players that have something to prove themselves, that have something to prove, rather than the tired and the clearly UCL-focused starters, these guys probably will do a better job, because Aslani, if he wants to, make a career, carve out a career for himself, not at Inter, but if he wants to get a nice move somewhere, he needs to perform. Zalewski, obviously, still his redemption isn't 100% confirmed. He wants to fight for that. Taremi, of course, he wants to fight to stay at Inter. Correa, if he wants to get himself a new contract somewhere, he needs to show himself nicely. Darmian's fighting for a new contract. De Vrij fighting for a new contract. So, these more fresh and motivated players actually, I feel, more confident doing the job. And this is away to Como, just like we went away to Torino and did the job with this type of team. I actually kind of like it. Maybe Inzaghi should have even rotated a little bit more against Lazio. I know that it sounds counterintuitive, because that's, your best team, and Lazio was a final. Lazio was the game where, yes, we've shit the bed all season, but then that could have all, thanks to Parma, we could have all erased that and won the Scudetto, because that was basically a final. So in a final, you play your best team. But maybe, as you've seen recently with the tiredness and the lack of focus in Serie A, maybe a little bit more rotation actually could have helped. And I think that's where we've said with Inzaghi, maybe he hasn't got his rotations spot on this season at times. So that's Inter. You guys let me know your comments below on that. And let's have a look at Como's team. Como, who, of course, have ended up being pretty comfortably mid-table. They were fighting relegation at one point, and then recently they just, look at that, 4 wins in a row. They just picked it up and just comfortably finished bang on mid-table, 10th. That's usually Torino's favorite position, but they managed to usurp them. -1 goal difference, so solid defensively and going forward. Very balanced, and very well coached by Cesc Fabregas. Yes, they've got a lot of money, but a newly promoted team doing that, and they haven't really started a big investment yet. So this is a really good job by Fabregas, who said they are going to play their best. They're going to try to beat Inter, try to outplay Inter, a team Fabregas has been very positive about Inter. He always speaks in glowing terms about Inzaghi, the system. He says it's one of the teams that he studies the most. He very admires. And then, of course, we know the guy to watch out for. It's written in the stars, isn't it? The guy that we've been linked with all season. The guy that we're probably, now that Luka Modric today apparently announced officially that he's not going to stay at Real Madrid. I don't know if he's retiring or not, but he's definitely not staying at Real Madrid. Opens up the spot for Nico Paz, potentially if this Mezzala conversion thing is going to be full time for him. him scoring against us with all those links just makes sense, and then he ends up not even moving to Inter. I can just see that. I can just see that. I can feel it in my bones. Apart from that, yeah, it's a decent team. Pepe Reina being in goal gives me some hope because, yeah, he's pretty way past his best now. I've seen him concede lots of goals that he shouldn't be conceding. And Como, even though it's away, it's just literally down the road from Inter. I know that a lot of Interisti are going to be at Como. I wouldn't be surprised if it's almost like 60% Como fans, but then 40% Interisti just sneaking in. It's a small stadium, local to a lot of Interisti. And I think there's still some hope and belief left in some Interisti, and also like a send-off before the Champions League final. So we will be there in numbers. We will be heard. We will be supporting the boys. And I think, unfortunately, at the end, I think we will win. But at the same time, Napoli will end up winning on the other side. And this last 3 points will be pointless because we messed up in the build-up to this. So that's my prediction. Maybe like a 2. Actually, yeah, I said I would win the win. So I was going to say 2-1, but I wouldn't be surprised if we draw 2-2 as well. And then Napoli on the other side. I think they're going to struggle maybe. They're going to feel the pressure, but then they'll get like a penalty or a sneaky goal somewhere, and just a 1-0 perfect quintessential Antonio Conte result. And the best defense wins the Scudetto, as it often is the case in Serie A. Anyway, guys, as I said, thank you for all your support throughout the season. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel down below. Let me know your predictions down below. The prediction for Napoli, prediction for Inter and Como. And yeah, got some busy few days up ahead next. Luis Enrique scout report. I know I need to get on that, so I'm working on that. And of course, preview for the Champions League final. I will try to get a PSG fan. I have found someone to link up with, so keep a lookout on the channel for that live stream. And yeah, as always, thank you for the support. There's also a new channel that I've started, just a side project. It's probably not going to be something I post too much on, but I think I'm going to put some videos on there, like player compilations or like kind of videos of players linked to Inter probably. So make sure, look in the description and subscribe to that channel and support that if you could, please. Thank you very much. Ciao ragazzi, always, until the final day, regardless of the result. Forza Inter.